one's asking why. The world keeps spinning, no one seems to care. Lost in the noise, a silent prayer. Does anyone out there even hear the cry? I'm just a voice in the wind, but I'll keep on screaming, 'cause someone's missing. I won't stop dreaming.
Hi guys, thank you for joining me this evening. I know it's actually early. It's 12:37 a.m. my time, but I just kind of wanted to get this out here. I haven't been live in a bit. I have been kind of sporadically going live, but this is very important to me. It's very important to my heart. So we're going to go ahead and get started with Project Cold Case Unsolved Homicides. And I will show you their Facebook page, their website. They do such an amazing job. And each person, whether homicide or not, they're very important and every person matters. Every life is precious. So, with that being said, let me get mine off here. Okay. And let me share this with you. This is off of their website page. It is, I'll go up here a little bit. It says Project Cold Case Advocate, Publicize, Connect. Advocating for the missing, advocating for victims and the survivors and of unsolved homicides. I'm going to go ahead and play this for you guys. It's very interesting and it kind of explains, and it should touch your heart like it did mine. Okay, let me go ahead and play this.
I'm doing fine.
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 I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Is what we say, but that is not the case at all. Our minds replay the better days before we got the call, and paused, and dropped, and cried out tears of grief, for someone that we knew and loved was now declared deceased. Homicide arrest rates took a plunge in recent years. Families left in mourning faced the worst of all their fears to hear our loved ones have been taken by the hands of someone else. They're working on the case, but it's been hard without the help of the community with answers as witnesses choose absence. Missing puzzle pieces hold the key to what has happened, and it seems that things are lacking. It's been a year with nothing mentioned. It's hard to sleep at night because we know that someone did this and they ain't been apprehended, while detectives stop their visits. They don't have good descriptions and their leads have been dismissing, so this case is disappearing, like the teardrops on our sleeves. Mornings filled with mourning, say a prayer for those who leave, save a prayer for those who grieve, because this pain is unsurmountable when someone takes a life and no one's held accountable. We have nothing good to go off of because nothing's been reported. Detectives clutch their hats, approaching broken hearts on porches, forcing families out with torches. Those are mothers in the streets. They're acting like they're officers returning to the scenes. Fathers question witnesses while brothers comb for clues. Sisters put up posts in hopes to garner up some views, and doing fine is what we say. But that is not the case at all. For murder cases frozen frees the families involved, pushing families to pause their lives so they can seek out justice. We watch the process fade while being told that we should trust it, feeling broken and disgusted, helpless and ignored, trying to find a way that we can somehow fill the void behind the murder of a loved one in the hopes to catch a break. Faith is like a bird we hold and cherish that escapes, and a day's a day too late, and it's hard to carry on, speaking to a grave of someone that should not be gone. That's where we find our strength in numbers. Project Cold Case fills the gaps. They become a bridge that helps to bring our focus back so that we don't forget our loved ones, but we do remember us. Much more than a system set in place to keep in touch, they're a sound of hope in silence, a light in times of dark, a real life organization built on showing us their heart. And that part sometimes is everything we need to float. Someone who believes that we can win can give us hope and not only help us cope, but help us stand and raise our heads as a tribute to the fallen that will live for them instead. So that one day when we're asked how we've been holding it together, we will know we're not alone and will respond, we're doing better.
All right, guys, I kind of wanted to show you that just so you can kind of get the gist of what they do. With that being said,
I'm doing fine.
it's going to start over. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'll go back one. All right. And as you can see, this is their website. I do have two streams on here going at the same time. I know there's not a lot in here. I my anxiety kind of takes over whenever I have a big crowd, so I kind of like to do it at this time. Um, but this is what their website actually looks like. If you're not familiar with it, please get familiar with it. It's very important. They do such hard work. I'm just impressed every time I get on here. With that being said, I'll go ahead and remove this and then we'll go ahead and get started. I think the first one we're going to start with today, it's going to be Edward. But let me go ahead and start down here at the bottom and get that big old thing of me on there off there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. So we have Edward. Let me share the screen with you. Okay. And as you can see, when I come over here, I will try to make it a little bigger, but it's really not letting me on to do this on here. I've tried this way, I've tried that way, but it kind of just gives me this clear picture. So I'm sorry, guys, that you can't see the full thing, but I will be scrolling as we go. Okay, so with Edward McLean, missing person, foul play suspected, November 20th of 2000. And that is from Jacksonville, Florida. On April 27th, 2026, by Cale Rish, Philby Pulley, Sage Williams, Grace Carolee, Drew McCary, and Kyle Goldwyn. This story is part of a collaborative project between Project Cold Case and Flagler College. Now, Edward McCain was a father figure and role model for his family. Now, that's said by Sylvia McLean, and that's his sister. He took us on dates to the movies, drove us. He even opened the car doors open for us, my sister and I. Described by family members as having a gentle soul and heart, Edward is sincerely missed by many. Now, the family considers Eddie as the glue that held them together. Sylvia said that her brother would often take his siblings with him. The family went to Disney World, but just went everywhere, anywhere they could go to have a good time. We have so many great memories of him, Sylvia said. Because we were raised on a foundation of faith, we pray that he will come home soon. Sylvia said that Edward loved everyone and made everyone feel special. An electrician by trade, Edward loved painting cars. Sylvia said that he could often be found in the garage painting his cars blue. On November 20th, 2000, Edward McLean vanished his Jacksonville, Florida home. Now, Edward answered a phone call and could be arguing. He was overheard arguing. Now, the family is certain that he was speaking to someone he already knew. The phone call, and she heard them arguing. Now, they do suspect that the person speaking on the phone knows a lot. The phone call made Edward furious and confused. He left about 30 minutes after that phone call, and he never did return. Now, Edward was last seen leaving his house in Jacksonville, Florida, in the company work van. The van was returned to the house the next morning, but Edward was nowhere to be found. Now, despite decades of investigations from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, the disappearance of Edward McLean remains a haunting mystery. Since his disappearance, law enforcement and authorities have received anonymous tips. Tons of them. Edward's case continues to symbolize the emotional toll that cold cases can have on families and communities. All I want is Edward to come home and meet his family, Sylvia said. Now, Edward's disappearance has had a huge impact on his sister, and it's filled the missing role of a father figure. Edward is a kind hearted, gentle, family oriented, bright young person, and he has been missing for over 20 years. Today, his story remains a call for awareness, urging the public to remember that even decades old cases deserve justice. If you have any information regarding the disappearance of Edward McLean, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904 630 0500, or you can call the First Coast Crime Stoppers at 866-845-8477. What a tragic story. That is so sad. And as you can see here, this is kind of what they do for each cold case. I think that's amazing. They have this like antique paper. And of course, you can see Edward McLean. It gives that, his date and time of his incident was Monday, November 20th of 2000. It kind of gives these little details. I don't really like to dox addresses or even really cities on some of these people because sometimes it's just not safe for the family. So next we're going to go over, and as you can see, this is I'm going to say this wrong, but I think it's Kimrith Sock. Kimrith Sock is an unsolved homicide victim from April 23rd, 2001 from Lowell, Massachusetts. Lowell, Massachusetts seems like an unlikely spot to play host to the highest number of Cambodian Americans in the country per capita. But the former mill town had turned cultural hub experience and influx of Cambodian refugees decades ago, as long as they sought to escape the vicious role of Khmer Rouge. Now, those who had fled the violence of the old country formed a tight knit community in Lowell, beginning to develop and later became known as Cambodia Town. Now, a small section of downtown that served as a unique example of Khmer culture and cuisine in the mid 1980s. Now, one of those refugees was Kimrith Sak, who was a loyal and devoted father to many of his Khmer compatriots who had fled Cambodia during the genocide era. Now, the resilient community was rocked by the shocking news that Kimrith Sak had been killed in what appeared to be a robbery gone wrong. To this day, his murder has never been solved. Now, Kimrith Sak was born on October 6, 1960, in the Cambodian province of Kampong Sim. He was formed to discontinue all of his education by Khmer Rouge in the third grade to tend to fields, as part of a broader system in which children were removed from school and pressed into grueling labor, and they served that regiment's agricultural quotas. Now, after Pol Pot's regime took power in 1975, he fled across the border to Thailand as a refugee of Cambodian genocide. Now, eventually, got something on my glasses, guys. I'm sorry. Now, eventually, he did make his way to the United States under the name Chandra Wrong, first living in Maine and then Rhode Island before settling in Lowell. Now, Kimrith was a hard worker, described as a go-getter by his daughter, Teresa Wrong. He was dedicated to accruing wealth to fulfill his biggest dream, opening a five-star hotel in Siem Reap and in Cambodia's largest cities. Now, in the U.S., he ran a business, Top Line Service, a hiring agency dedicated to linking employees with qualified candidates for potential excuse me, guys, for potentially getting a better job. Now, Teresa was 11 years old when this murder took place. She was left with a hole in her heart that could only be filled temporarily by the happy memories they shared together. When he came to Rhode Island, he would always pick us up in his BMW, Teresa said, and he had the convertible top down. He had his Cambodian music playing, and he would take us out to eat all the time. Now, on April 23rd, 2001, his oldest daughter's birthday. Now, Kimrith died in Sutherland Street home, but police were reporting to the 911 calls, and his friend and business partner, Moni Var, found Kimrith's body riddled in stab wounds. His car totaled a few blocks away on Hendrick Street, and his wife in hysterics after recently breaking free from being tied up. He was 40 years old at the time of his death. In an instant, the Khmer community had unexpectedly lost their father, a business leader, a great friend to many. Now, Kimmerth had traveled to Cambodia to visit his mother and family, but his trip was cut short, and he was forced to return home to take care of things back in the U.S. Now, believing he was still abroad, his family was aware that night that he did arrive home. His killers were lying in wait. Now, Teresa was one of four children, and Kimmerth had over the course of his life. She, along with his older sister, I'm going to say that wrong, but Corinthia Veth, older brother Kennedy Wrong, and her younger half brother, Nafine Ma, was rocked with grief upon learning the death of their father. Now, Teresa was playing outside in the front yard in her mother's home in Providence, Rhode Island, when her cousins, when a friend of her dad's arrived just to break the news to the father's murder 2 days later. When she heard this news, she ran upstairs and wept while her family was trying to comfort her. Now, I found myself feeling really alone, she said. I found myself being hurt when I would see other kids with their dads. Teresa's family let out many gruesome details when they told her the news. Now, I found myself drawn to others that were navigating challenges much like I was. My sister was 16 at the time, and becoming a woman, she needed her dad, Teresa said. Now, my mom was 14. He was becoming a man. My brother, I don't know, I'm seeing sideways tonight. I'm so sorry. My brother was 14. He was becoming a man. He was a little baby brother, too. He needed a father figure. After years of unanswered questions and unrelenting grief, Teresa has found purpose in keeping her father's memory alive by pushing for justice in this unsolved murder. A part of me is healing, Teresa said. As long as I continue to advocate for him, it does make me feel better. As you can see, here's the Project Cold Case file they always make. And I just love it because it's in the antique paper. I hope you guys can see that. It's not going to really let me show all of it on the little side. We do have two streams going. I tried to do the phone side and the computer side because Paula doesn't like the phone side, and most of my followers are actually, my subscribers are on phones, like 95% of them. So that's why I kind of do the phone thing. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, I got this one. Well, if it will get off here. Okay, so we have Devontae Jenkins. From the outside, Devontae Jenkins was rugged and rough, with tattoos, gold grills in his mouth. On the inside, he was caring, loving, and a devoted father. If you just went by his outer face tattoos and gold grills in his mouth, you would think that he just was loving. You wouldn't think so, but he is. Now, Devontae's aunt, Tanisha DeMark, said he was sweet. The opportunities to show his love came to a sudden halt when police showed up at Tanisha's front porch, explaining that her nephew was gone. Now, his body had been found on Williston Road in Gainesville, Florida, with a bullet wound in his back. He was 24 years old at that time, and his murder still remains unsolved. Now, Devontae was born and raised in Citra, Florida, a small, peaceful community nestled between Osceola and Gainesville. His aunt Tanisha remembers him as her best friend and the first child she ever helped raise in her life. We were as thick as thieves, said Tanisha. Hey, Chris, thank you for coming in. I'm so happy to see you. I didn't think you'd be up this late or early. So Devontae was born and raised in Citra, Florida, a small, peaceful community nestled between Osceola and Gainesville. His aunt Tanisha remembers him as her best friend and the first child she'd ever helped raise. We were as thick as thieves, she says. I just remember him with me, always with me. It didn't matter. He was always with me. The two shared a deep bond. Tanisha was there the day Devontae was born. In fact, that day, Tanisha would deliver him. He was the child of her 15-year-old sister. Oh, my goodness. Now, from a very young age, Devontae himself aparted with his peers. He kind of set himself apart from his peers. His family just describes him as mature, curious, and above all, just loving. He was very mature for his age growing up, and he was a very unique man. Now, Tanisha says a very particular child. He was also very grown up, curious, and just loving, and he is so very well missed. Devontae enjoyed a wide range of hobbies, including riding dirt bikes, playing football, and cheering for his beloved Florida Gators. One of the most memorable aspects of Devontae was that his love for basketball and his legend, Michael Jordan. His favorite number was 23. He loved Michael Jordan so much The love of Jordan led Devontae to start a collection of Jordan brand sneakers. Now, on April 5th, 2018, a day that Tanisha Denmark and the rest of her family will never forget, there was a knock at Tanisha's door. It was at Chalucha County Sheriff's Office. You're a night owl, Chris? I am too. I know. I'm hoping that my insomnia stuff's not coming back. Tonight's like the first night in a bit that I couldn't sleep, so hopefully it's just a fluke. So they eventually met with the police outside where they received the terrible news. Devontae had been shot and killed. Now they said, sorry to inform you, but Devontae was found deceased yesterday. I blacked out. I lost my mind because Devontae was like my first child, says Tanisha. No suspects has ever been named or detained, and investigators have reports of a car leaving the scene from the sound of a gunshot. Tanisha recalls calling the detective assigned to Devontae's case regularly, but he alluded to a possible lead. Now, however, that interaction would be the last contact Tanisha would have with that investigator. Oh, for Pete's sake. And the case would go cold. They've got to get better with transparency with these families. Now, Devontae's murder shattered the lives of those he left behind. Tanisha eventually moved out of the home that they had shared, and just saying the memories were just too painful. Tanisha continues to express her grief powerfully. I have no forgiveness for whoever did this. I hope they never have to experience this pain that we're going through, but at the same time, I hope they do, she says. Now, Devontae Jenkins is survived by his 3 children, his parents, his cousins, and of course his aunts. His family's home remains decorated with photos of him. Now, the family also made sure to keep Devontae's love for Michael Jordan alive. Some of his cousins did so by tattooing the Jumpman logo on themselves, while his immediate family still holds tightly to the cherished Jordan sneaker collection. Anyone with information concerning Devontae Jenkins' murder is asked to call the I'm going to say this wrong, but I'm going to say Alachua County Sheriff's Office cold case at 352-955-1818. And as you can see, here's their case file. I love how they do this. They put this in the old-fashioned paper. And I just think they put so much work on here. I hope that I can play this. I'm going to go and play it anyway. I probably shouldn't. If I go away, don't leave me here. I will be right back, and I'll just get a warning. But let's try it anyway because it's very important that we. Oh, hang on, guys. I am so sorry. That did not look right, did it? Okay, let me see if I can find this again. I am so sorry, guys. Ah, where did it go? There it is. Okay. Maybe if I can get this to play, if I click it. Sorry, guys. This is the first time with like on articles that I've actually done this, but it's still not helping me share this. I wonder if I can go down. Nope. Well, I guess we can listen to it and I'll start it over. I'm so sorry. I don't know why that doesn't want to play like that. I really don't. Let's see if I can play this, make it a little nope, not gonna let oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I wish you could see this. Let me pause this and let me go back to StreamYard. And maybe if I try again, maybe it'll let me if I try again. Sorry, guys. And sometimes this stuff gets a little complicated. Like it's not, it'll either let you play it or it will not. But that's okay. Project Cold Case does such a great job that, if we can't play it, we can't play it. Look how much stuff they give us, though. But I do want you to look. I don't know if you can see that I'm scrolling. I don't see that. Can you guys see that I'm scrolling? Or am I frozen? I may be frozen because you guys should be able to see me scroll. Okay, we're going to stop sharing and try this again. Sorry, guys. I really do apologize. I wanted this to go perfect, but, Is this one? Huh. I don't know if it's going to let me share this again, but I'm going to try it again. Okay. So up at the top right, the little box, that's what we're going for. And I'm going to try this again because I don't know why this isn't playing. Like I said, sometimes it will play for me. A lot of times it just, it's just not going to. So I guess what I'll do is I'll try to play this and then make it big. And maybe you guys can see it.
Canine
Yes, there we go.
area, and our aviation unit also responded in.
And I'll start this over, guys. I do apologize. I did not mean to interrupt.
11:51 at night on the night of 4/5 of 2018. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office was contacted by a concerned citizen in regards to a shots fired call. The area was about the 3700 block of Southwest Williston Road, which is a business complex. Our patrol deputies arrived on scene and located the subject deceased in a roadway leading to the business complex. Our patrol deputies did an excellent job coordinating a perimeter. Our canine deputies responded and assisted in a canine track of the area, and our aviation unit also responded.
In terms of where on his body Devontae sustained his fatal injuries, we don't know. We will defer that to the medical examiner's report when that autopsy report is complete. Exactly which wound or wounds caused his death is still under investigation. Again, we do believe that he was shot at the location where he was found deceased. We don't believe, based on the evidence on the scene, that this is a case where he was murdered elsewhere and then brought to Alachua County. Again, in terms of what the types of physical evidence we recovered on scene, that's still part of our active criminal investigation. We can't release that information at this time, but detectives are actively following up on those leads at this time. What does the public need to know? We have no indications based on our investigation at this point that this was a random act, that this is somebody that's out there that's a threat to this community. No, what we need is the public's help to figure out who might want to do this to Devontae's mother's son.
All right, so we finally figured out how to do that. All right, let me go over to the next one because I know I boogered that up, and I apologize, guys, for that. Let me make sure I'm not on mute because I do that a lot. I want to put this on. Oh, I don't want to put that on stage. I want that removed. Okay, so the next one, we're just going to work it on up here to, there we go. I'll come over here and share it with you guys. Okay. So this is another sad one, but I haven't seen a cold case homicide yet that isn't sad. So we're going to go ahead and go with Renata. On February 13th, 1993. Now, Renata Bateman's remains were discovered in the deserts of North Pima Road in Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, police reported that Renata suffered from blunt force trauma to her head that was caused by an unidentified object. It's unknown when Renata was killed, but news reports state that she was last heard from on January 13th, 1993. Now, Renata was born in Phoenix and raised in Arizona. She was a mother to 5 daughters, dreamed of reuniting with them and they were placed in foster care. Now, Jolanda, one of Renata's daughters, reflects upon the many fond memories of her mom. One of her favorite memories with her mother is when she went to the zoo. She went to carry me on her shoulders and take pictures with the giraffes. One of the giraffes began to eat my hair. Jolanda fondly remembers that her mother's interest in hobbies, particularly that she loved to go bowling and fishing. Jolanda stated that Renata's love for bowling was so deep that she even had her own personal bowling ball. Now, Renata's childlike personality brought joy and happiness to many, but her absence was left a huge gap in her loved ones. Now, Jolanda states that the loss of her mom, she was only 8 years old at that time, and it's been affecting her in every aspect of her life, both past and present. She's always struggled with trying to find a mother figure that could guide her through difficult stages of life through absence and of Renata. Oh, everybody doing okay in chat? Hey, Mustang. Chunky, Lizzie, Oldenboard. So happy to see you guys. Thank you for joining. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. So Renata's childlike personality brought joy and happiness to many, and her absence has left a huge gap in her loved ones' lives. So if you have any information at all concerning Renata Bateman's murder, you're asked to call the Scottsdale Police Department at 480-312-2653. To remain anonymous and possibly be eligible for a reward, You can call the Silent Witness Program at 580-948-6377. And as you can see here on the right, that's a picture of her. I hope that I kind of went up enough that you guys can see. There we go. There's a beautiful picture of her. Aw. Please consider using the buttons below to share this case in hopes that someone somewhere will come forward with this. And I'm going to do that real quick, as you're going to see. Come right on over here to my Facebook, and we're going to share it. Because it's very important that we share, guys. It's so, so important. I've had several people reach out to me and say, you shared a flyer and so was found. And that's so rewarding. So, guys, please, if you see something and really, even if it's a share, you never know. You might get credit for that share and you may actually reunite that family. You just never know. The main part is reuniting the family for sure. Okay, so we have Diane Schofield. Did Diane show up on there? I know I have such a lag. I do not even know why I have a lag. If anyone has any idea on how I can get rid of my lag, please let me know. I'm new to this. I'm not real tech savvy, so if you guys are, you can help me out at any time with this stuff because sometimes. All right, let me go ahead and share the screen. We just did Diane, didn't we? Yeah, we did Diane. Okay, I don't want to make double on here. I know it's late, guys, and I know you guys are tired, so I want to make sure. Okay, I hope you guys, you can't see that. StreamYard and this double. Hi, Rubber Ramada. Thank you for coming in. I'm happy to see you. Thank you for coming in. I think this is your first time, right? I just want to, guys, welcome, Rubber Ramada. I love the name, and they're nice enough to pop in tonight. So thank you. Thank you for coming in. Okay, so this one's going to be Andre Johnson. Now, with Andre, it's a little. I don't know if I should. I don't know if I can get in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Okay, so I hope you guys can see this. All right. Guys, if you would like and share, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm not monetized. I'm never going to be monetized on this channel. I just do this to bring awareness. But my goal to ask you to share and to hit like is just to get the faces out there. I don't make profit on this. I'm actually in the hole doing this stuff. Okay, so we have Andre Johnson that's been missing for a week on June 2005, when his mom received the call that every parent fears. The body of her 28-year-old son had been found in the Revolt River in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, Andre had suffered blunt force trauma to the head and had been the victim of still a victim of an unsolved murder. Sometimes pain comes passion, and loss leads to direction. Andre's mom, Beverly McLean, founded Families of Slain Children in Jacksonville, Florida in 2006 to support, comfort, and counsel others that have went through this same bit of trauma with violence. Now, Miss Beverly has used her tragedy to help countless families in the community. It's the hope of Project Cold Case in the community that they will return the favor and share Andre's story. If you have any information, no matter how small you think it is, about Andre Johnson's murder, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office at 904-630-2172. To remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 1-866-845-TIPS. Now, you may be eligible for a reward up to $3,000 if your Crime Stoppers tip leads to an arrest in this case. Guys, I kind of want to stress that. I know there's a lot of rewards that we see from FBI and all that, and I'm not saying they don't pay. I'm just saying I've never seen them pay, but I'm not saying they don't. But with Crime Stoppers, be very careful. If you see something like that that has a reward and you do want that reward, you're going to want to get a hold of Crime Stoppers first, and then you're going to want to get a hold of the other people that may give you the reward. Because if you don't call Crime Stoppers first, you don't get the reward, unfortunately. Shouldn't be that way. They make it sound good, but you don't. As you can see, here's this folder that they make out. We have the day, date, time of incident, Thursday, June 23rd, 2005. And this is all the information that I had given you. He is African-American Black. His sex is male. He's 28 years old. The rest of it is kind of like non-applicable, except for his offensive victim of murder and his weapon. The weapon used was blunt force. That's pretty much really all they say, except for the bottom. And it's kind of the same thing that we just discussed. Another very sad one, though, for sure. Okay, let me go back over here so I can share the screen again. I don't know why StreamYard just doesn't do that. It says, yes, I've been watching, but never in chat. Oh, well, you can chat anytime, Rubber Ramada. Come in here anytime you want to. We try to keep this a drama-free chat. If you do see a little bit of drama, don't worry. It won't last long. I won't have it out of respect for the victims. I just don't do the drama stuff. I come on here to not argue and start drama with other people or be jealous. I'm in competition with no one. Absolutely no one on here. I have no reason to. I'm not out for money, so why would I? But I want to welcome you for sure. And you can always chat. I mean, we have a very nice community here. And like I said, you'll get a few rude ones here and there, but don't worry, they won't last long. I don't either. Rubber, I will not do drama. I just won't. I completely will just back away and say, forget it. I'm not. Nobody's worth that. I don't know anybody an explanation, and people seem to think everybody deserves one, and they don't. But thank you for coming in again. I'm happy to see you. Okay, so next we're going to go with Bill Smith. If I can make sure that's shared. Okay, so here's Bill Smith. Birthdays are typically a special celebration, but some are more difficult than others. When Christopher Beaumont turned 37, he couldn't help but think of his father, Bill. Now, William Bill Smith was 37 when his life was taken. Bill Smith was born on March 27, 1958, in New Jersey, and raised in the New Bedford Island Amusement Park in Mount Arlington. Now, as a kid, he enjoyed fishing, hunting, basketball, spending time with his family and his siblings, Kathy and Art. Now, he liked to listen to music and go to the movies. He especially enjoyed the 1968 hit Built, featuring Steve McQueen. For 13 weeks straight, he went to see that movie every weekend. Art recalled of his younger brother. Now, Bill had a knack for drawing and creating things, a skill he used as a designer later in life. He was very artistic. Shonda Hodge said of her father, I still ride by his signs and see him. Now, he met Nancy in June of 1981 when they were married and they were married 6 months later. Bill accepted Christopher, who was only 6 months old at the time, with open arms and immediately found his groove in fatherhood. This couple had their daughter, Shauna, 2 years later. Bill loved being a dad and spending time with his children. He was my best friend, Shauna said. We did everything together. Bill was known to be a jokester. He loved to laugh and make others laugh. He was the funniest person I'd ever met, Kathy said to his brother. Then the humor was gone. He was the funniest person she had ever met. Now, Bill Smith was found severely beaten in the parking lot of an American Legion at Riviera Beach, Florida, on April 13th, 1995. At least 2 men were seen hitting Smith with a baseball bat. They were just spotted fleeing in the dark-colored pickup with the white stripe along the side. Now, Bill was rushed to St. Mary's Medical Center that night. He would succumb to his injuries on May 6th after spending 23 days in a coma. Oh, God love him. The original detective on the case, Pat Gallahan, told the Palm Beach Post following Bill's passing that no one is saying anything and there isn't a lot of traffic in that area. The lighting is extremely poor, and it just made the whole case difficult to solve. Now, the original detective on the case, Pat Gallahan, told the Palm Beach Post that Bill's passing that no one is saying anything and there isn't a lot of traffic in that area. The parking lot is extremely poor, making this difficult in every aspect. Now, I think this was my driving factor for wanting to get into law enforcement, Christopher said. Now, Nancy and Kathy were productive from the get-go. The two went around Riviera Beach every day asking simple people questions. Bill was known to suffer from addiction issues, so the family fears that, his case wasn't given enough attention because of that. And that is something very common. I wish we could change. And guys, if you have any ideas about that too, let's change that. That sucks. These people, we can't live a life in a world in America where you get shunned for one if you struggle with addiction, that you're just shunned if you go missing, if you have a past of addiction. No, your past should never define you. And law enforcement is not there to judge you. They're there to serve and protect. Remember that. I don't think the Riviera Beach Department did what they would do if it was a wealthy community member, Nancy said. I just believe they said, oh, he was on drugs. We used to go around and hang up reward posters. Well, after a long time, the Smith family still doesn't have the answers they desperately seek. I don't have closure, Shauna said. Bill's death still weighs heavy on everyone's minds. He wasn't there for his kids' graduations, weddings. He'll never get to meet his grandkids. It still hurts, Nancy said. It hurts so deeply. Now, anyone with any information about this case, please, I beg you, to please reach out to the Riviera Beach Police Department at 561-845-4123. Over here to the right, you will see this is an unsolved homicide, white male. Sometime after 11 p.m., the victim was found severely beaten in the parking lot of American Legion Post 268. Guys, if you have any information about his whereabouts, if you know anything that happened to him, if you know how this homicide happened, who did this, please, I beg you to call 1-800-226-TIPS. And like I said, if you want that reward, remember that 1-800-226-TIPS. Who couldn't use a reward? Times are hard. Everybody's struggling. Now's the time, guys. Let's find some missing people. On January, I don't think you can see this on here. You can't. Oh my goodness. The StreamYard's about to go out the door. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, on January 17, 2004, 15-year-old Sherrod Fleming attended a teen dance party at the YMCA in Tenderloin neighborhood of San Francisco, California. Now that's a bad neighborhood. Around 10:30 p.m., police arrived after two fights had broken out and spilled into the street. Now, the officers had left a little time later, and the situation diffused, they thought. At 11:50 p.m., the teens gathered in front of the property as an unknown gunman opened fire. Multiple teens were shot. Now, Sherrod Fleming died of his gunshots injuries a short time later on January 18th, 2004. Now, Sherrod was the only boy in the family of girls. He was popular, JV football player, and sophomore at the Mission High School in San Francisco. His friends, his relatives, they all talk about his dance moves and love his hip hop music. If you have any information on the murder of Sherrod Fleming, please do the right thing. Look how young, guys. Come on. If you know anything, please let this family have some peace. Over the right, you can see the newspaper article where it says family mourns teen slain at dance. That's scary. With all of our children, we definitely did not. I'm sorry, didn't it? Thank you, Barb. I'm over here going on and on and on. Nobody's telling me but Barb. Thank you, Barb, so much for letting me know. I was just talking through a blue screen. Guys, feel free to tell me when I mess up. I can take it. I'm telling you, I need that. I've got to get back in the groove here. I do apologize. Thank you, Barb. Okay, let me try it again. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. It's late too, though. The office and the mayor of San Francisco has authorized a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and prosecution of the suspect responsible for the murder of Sherrod Fleming. Persons with information or questions are urged to contact the SFPD Homicide Detail at 415-553-9105. Another very heartbreaking case. My goodness. Barb's like, hi, everyone. Had to correct her. She's talking through a blue screen again. Look, Barb, I did it again. We're almost done, guys. I am so sorry to keep you up this late, but I think this is very important. These cases didn't get any kind of coverage. They just didn't. And I think it's ridiculous, and we need to stop this crap, and everyone deserves the same coverage. And all these people that are only covering one missing person case for like the next 10 years and beating that missing person case with like beating a dead horse. Come on, guys. Other people need coverage too. And it's really sad because I don't know any of these faces on here, and I should, but I don't. Not dogging anybody, not dogging any creators. I'm just saying there's so many people that are missing. Let's focus on a lot. I mean, all of them, some of them, half of them, anything. Okay, so around 2:15 on January 19th, 2014, 19-year-old Derek Harris and his childhood friend, 19-year-old Lamar Broussard, got in Broussard's car to drive up to the store. Within minutes of leaving, they were ambushed by unknown suspects. That is so scary. 19 years old. Derek and Lamar were both killed in a hail of fire that erupted at the intersection of 100th and Longfellow Avenues in Oakland, California. Just 3 weeks later, Lamar's 13-year-old brother had been shot and killed a few blocks away. Oh my God. Could you imagine being that mama? Oh, that's so sad. They were so close together too. Oh, Barb, that's so sad, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Ugh. So, despite the shooting happening in broad daylight, no witnesses have been identified of the shooter. Detectives, along with the mother of each victim, have publicly asked for the witnesses' cooperation on numerous occasions, but detectives have not committed on, and they believe sorry guys, not the two shootings, but I mean, Lord have mercy. They believe the two shootings are connected and have not named any suspects. If you have any information on the unsolved murder of Derek Harris and Lamar Broussard, please contact the Oakland Police Department, and that's their homicide unit at 510-238-3821. What a terrible, terrible case. My goodness. And we have one more, guys, and I promise I will leave y'all alone. Not really. I'll probably aggravate you before it's over with, but if I haven't already, but this maybe I will in the next one. Okay. I hope y'all can see this because last time you couldn't and you couldn't. Okay, here we go. I'm catching on, guys. Sorry. Crandall Jack Reed, 51, had pulled his yellow cab taxi into the parking lot of the Boy Scouts of America building in Edgewood Avenue in Jacksonville, Florida. And that was around 3:30 a.m. on Friday, November 16th, 2007. Now, as he sat in the cab, an unknown car pulled in and was attempting to block him in. Now, knowing something wasn't right, Reed drove his cab around the building. As he attempted to escape, someone jumped from that unknown car and began shooting. Reed was able to drive to the convenience store a few blocks away before collapsing on the steering wheel and being discovered by police as a shots fired call in the area. Reed, who proudly served 20 years with the U.S. Navy, oh my God, and was a veteran of Desert Storm, died in that gunshot wound a short time later at that local hospital. For years, Jack's family has struggled with the murder, but has always remained hopeful, and those responsible would be brought to justice. Investigators have never publicly named a suspect and have repeatedly asked for the public's help. This is crap right here. I'm going to, hang on, guys. Let me write this 1-800 number down because I'll be calling tomorrow. That's ridiculous that this has went on this long, and they're not doing anything for that. Okay, 1-866-845-TIPS. And guys, if you guys want to do this too, please do. I'm not rude when I call. I'm never rude. I'm really polite. But I do have questions because that's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And I'm tired of people being thrown to the side over addiction issues or their past or whether they went to prison. Who cares what happened in the past? They're missing now. So for years, Jack's family has struggled with the murder, but always remained hopeful that those responsible will be brought to justice. Investigators have never publicly named that suspect and have repeatedly asked for the public's help. But have they? I'll have to look into that. If we have any information on the 2007 murder of Crandall Jack Reed, please contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit at 904-630-2172. To remain anonymous, call Crime Stoppers at 866-845-TIPS. You may be eligible for a reward up to $3,000 if your Crime Stoppers tip leads to an arrest in his murder or their murder. There's also an additional $10,000 reward offered by the Jacksonville Transportation Authority for information that leads to an arrest and conviction in this case. The sad part is, with all of this money and nothing being said anywhere, I don't know that this one will be solved, but maybe. Let's hope, right? Here's his car. As you can see, here's his taxi here. You can probably see it bigger on the other side with the big screen, but here's this little taxi on the back of the tow truck. And if you come down here, and we're going to try this again, so bear with me.
Case that has yet to be solved, the case of Crandall Reed. He served our country for 20 years and survived Desert Storm. But on November 16th of 2007, he was shot to death inside his taxi cab. So continuing her cold case series tonight, Katie Jeffries has more for us.
He was an honest man trying to make an honest living. That's what Terry Reed had to say about her husband. But he was shot to death inside of his taxi cab in November of 2007, a cold-blooded killing. And Terry has been searching for answers for nearly 10 years.
There ain't no more out there like him. He was the only gentleman I ever knew.
Time has done little to numb the pain for Terry Reed. Before driving a cab, her husband Jack served in the U.S. Navy for 20 years, survived Desert Storm, but lost his life in a spray of bullets near the Boy Scouts of America building off Edgewood Avenue.
And I think they said he shot 21 bullets, one hitting him.
Somehow, he was able to drive away, but crashed into this convenience store parking lot and died.
I don't understand why. Why him? Because you want to rob somebody because you're too lazy to go to work?
Terry Reed has her husband's urn topped with a brownie her granddaughter said Jack should have since it was his favorite snack. She has a bear made from one of his favorite sweatshirts. But what she doesn't have is an arrest or conviction in her husband's murder.
You're taking this life off of this earth. That's somebody's son, father, brother, uncle, grandfather. And you don't care. You do it so cold-blooded.
JSO's cold case unit is working this case.
That case is active. We're looking at it right now.
And says it does have some new leads.
Now, we're following up on some tips and leads in that particular case. I can't talk to the details of that particular case either because it's an active one. But I feel promised about it.
I want to know who did it. And I can't rest until I do. You know, I have to have peace too.
So we will keep you updated if there are any developments in this case. If you know anything tonight, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers or the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. That number to Crime Stoppers, 866-845-TIPS. Remember, your call can remain anonymous.
And now to some pretty...
All right, guys. Is there any other cases you would like for me to look up or anything before we end this? I know that some people, if there is a case that you want me to cover, just lay it out here and I'll write them all down. I know that I've had a lot of them reach out to me about Nancy Guthrie. I don't cover high profile cases like that where they get a lot of coverage. I try to go for the little guy. But if there is a high profile case that you're interested that you would like for me to do, I'm all open. If I have open ears, I'm up to anything. I can cover just about any case, but if it's like Nancy Guthrie, I kind of want to wait because they have went too far. Hey, Far, happy to see you. I've been piss farting all day. What you been doing? That is Far's way. She's from Australia, so when she's just messing around the house, she calls it piss farting. All right, guys. Well, if there's any cases that you guys do decide that you want me to cover, I'm on Facebook, same name, Doodlebug A4RC. You can reach out anytime. Give me some cases. Tomorrow we have Missing in Missouri, and that'll be at 1 p.m. There's so many in Missouri. Don't worry, I'm not going to make it a 5-hour stream. I can't, but I do want to get in at least 30 to 50 flyers. We have lots. Sharon, her name is Sharon. Do we have a last name or where she's missing from, Far? Oh, you just been out piss farting too? Must have been a good day to piss fart. Sharon, her name is. Which one, Far? I'm sorry, I don't want to leave you with this Northern Territory. Okay. And she's missing from the Northern Territory. All right, I'll see what I can find on that for sure. Be this mic. I tell you what, I got one of those boom mics, and I keep hitting it. So if you guys have any ideas and you're familiar with this stuff, let me know. I'm old and I'm not tech savvy. All right, guys. Well, like I said, if there's any more cases, please let me know, and just reach out to me. I'm more than open to covering them. Just like the screen says, you matter. If you're in any kind of crisis, please reach out to people. It's okay to not be okay. I know you're going to, mental health is a big deal. People like to make fun of it, even though they like to say they have it. But at the same time, guys, don't be afraid to reach out for help. Here is the National Domestic Violence Line. It's obvious. You can see it. The call number, the text number. Like I said, it's okay to not be okay. This is also a crisis line. So with that being said, guys, I guess I could go over who we went through because it is very important. We have Edward McLean, missing person, foul play suspected, November 20th of 2000, Jacksonville, Florida. We went over Kimrith Sock, unsolved homicide victim, April 23rd, 2001, from Lowell, Massachusetts. We have Julia Vegas missing from, she's an unsolved homicide victim. November 26, 1999, Jacksonville, Florida. We went over Devontae Jenkins, unsolved homicide victim, April 5th, 2018, from Gainesville, Florida. We also went over Renata Bateman, an unsolved homicide victim, February 13th, 1993, from Scottsdale, Arizona. We have Diane Schofield, unsolved homicide victim, July 4th, 1975, from Des Moines, Iowa. We went over Crandall Jack Reed, unsolved homicide victim, November 16th, 2007, Jacksonville, Florida. We also went over Derek Harris, unsolved homicide victim, January 19th, 2014, Oakland, California. We have Sherrard Fleming, unsolved homicide victim, January 18th, 2004, San Francisco, California. We have Andre Johnson, unsolved homicide victim, June 23rd, 2005, Jacksonville, Florida. With that being said, guys, I hope that you guys sleep well tonight. Because she is Black and from remote areas. She's okay. I will. You don't know the last name though, because I can look. It says Northern Territory, but I will definitely look for that. She's not getting much press here. Okay, so she's an Australian case. Yeah, I really like to get the ones that don't get a lot of coverage because those people matter too, and they get forgotten. And we can't get forgotten. We are all human beings. We should all have some compassion for one another. Barb says, these are all so sad. I hope these families find peace. They are sad, but I think because it's been so long, these families just kind of want closure at this point. Sharing. Okay. Yeah, I will do that one for sure. And guys, like I said, any of these cases that you feel like I could cover or you think I could cover it okay, please reach out. And it's not that I need content because there are so many missing people everywhere, like even reading flyers. It's just I want to help the guy that or the girl that doesn't get a lot of attention. Because you know what? If it were you and I promise we wouldn't get much attention. And that's why it just hits home for me so much. 5 years old, taken from bedroom by me. Oh, that's terrible. Yes, I'll get on that as soon as I get off here, Far. That's terrible. That's frightening. Okay, guys, but with that being said, it is 1:33 here. I don't know where you're at, how time it is in your neck of the woods, but I'm going to look that case up and then I'm going to hit the hay. Guys, just take care of yourselves. Please, please stay safe, stay vigilant, love yourself. And like I said, it's okay to it's okay to not be okay. No, you didn't dump that on me. I asked for it. I was just asking for cases if anybody thought that I would be good at covering a case that that they want me to. Sure, absolutely. And if they don't get a lot of coverage, that's a plus because I definitely go for the ones that don't get a lot of coverage. Good night, Pink. Thank you so much for coming in here. I love seeing you in here. All right, guys. So stay blessed. Good night. Sleep well, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and end. All right, guys. Sweet dreams. Bye-bye.
In a world that turns too fast, some are lost, left in the past. But we won't let silence win. We'll speak their names again. Voices rising through the dark. Every story leaves a mark. We are the ones who won't forget. The fight for truth is not done yet. We shine the light, we raise the call. For the missing, the broken, we stand tall. For justice, for healing, for every tear we carry.